Hello, you guys, and welcome to Wine Wednesday with Ashley of Homes by Ashley. And I am so happy to be a part of you guys' Wednesday evening on this historical inauguration day. Cheers to that. But I want to talk about something that might be something that a lot of people don't think about but want to do, and that is analyzing if you are actually ready to purchase a home. So let's begin. One of the first things that comes to mind when you're purchasing a home is obviously credit. What exactly does good credit mean? Ideally, you kind of want your credit score to be at least at a bare minimum 640. It's possible to purchase a home as a cash buyer, but most people will be purchasing a home with a down payment as well as a mortgage as well. So when it comes to having that down payment as well as the mortgage, even when you're applying for the mortgage, the pre-approval process, which is you finding out your buying power from your lender, 9 times out of 10, well, maybe I'll say 7 times out of 10 because it depends on your market and your lender and where you're located and all that kind of stuff. Ideally, you want to have a credit score of about 640. At the bare minimum, you want to have a 640 credit score. A lot of times that is the basic credit score that you want to have. So the first thing you want to do if you're in the idea of purchasing a home is making sure that your credit is in shape. Be mindful of how you're spending your money. Really take the time to analyze where your money is going. If you find that you are a splurger and you just spend money just like crazy, you might not be able to be in the process of purchasing a home. I'm just going to be honest with you, because you do have to make sacrifices in order for you to have that payment and to put that down payment down on the house and everything like that. Now, before I even go further, let me back up a little bit, because I want to also put this out there. You really want to understand the motivation behind you being a homeowner. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Home ownership is not for everyone. And that's coming from a realtor, honey. So if I can say that, it's definitely something that I would really recommend that you think about. What I mean by your motivation is this. I know that all out there on Instagram and Facebook, any type of social media, different things, you'll see different things out there that will make you think, even as a renter, you know what? I probably can go ahead into the process of purchasing a home. If the motivation is because of something you've seen on television or social media, don't do it. Just don't do it, because you're going to let your eyes dictate what it is that you want to get, and you'll end up ignoring signs and different things that you just aren't ready. When it comes to purchasing a home, you have to understand that there's a big difference between saying that home is mine and renting. One of the things that I would say that I use as an example is this. When you're renting and something happens at your apartment or a home, something breaks. Something happens to the roof. Something needs to be replaced. The HVAC system went out. The heater went out. The stove is broken. You know, those kinds of things, you just call your landlord. You call your maintenance person over if you're at an apartment complex, and they just come and fix it. That's their job. That's their job security. So honestly, that's what they're supposed to do, is take care of that stuff. Now, if you are a homeowner and all that stuff breaks down, it's on you. If your HVAC system goes out, a couple $1,000. You got a crack in your floor, got to get that done. Your roof is all messed up. Dang, you gonna be out of some money. So that's one thing that I want to preface this whole thing by saying. You need to really know if you're ready and know what it really takes to be a homeowner. So definitely consider that. If you are more comfortable being a renter and not having to worry about the expense of other things breaking down in the home, and you don't want to sacrifice the ability of just calling someone up and saying, hey, I need this fixed, and they'll be over there when they can and they fix it. If you are comfortable having that and that's something that you want to stay with, stick with it. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about it either, because I know that there are some realtors out here and other people that will make renters feel like, oh, don't you want to have generational wealth? Don't you want to have your own home and call it your own? If you're not ready for it up here and it's not in here, don't listen to other people and don't let it put you in that position. That's just plain and simple. So now I want to go ahead and move forward to finding out if you are ready. So the first thing, motivation. Second thing, definitely get your credit score together. One of the third things I will say is make sure that you go through the pre-approval process. You need to go through that. That is something that I did mention in probably a few videos ago, and I'm sure I've done postings about it because it is just that important. You certainly want to find out what's called your buying power, and that comes with being pre-approved. So even prior to you going to look at homes, take some time, go to a lender, go to a few of them if you want to, and see what your buying power is and see how much house you will be able to afford based on your job and your debt to income ratio, which is my next point. You want to take a look at your debt to income ratio, and you can do that without a lender. You can figure that out yourself. So what do I mean by debt to income ratio? Basically, what that means in layman terms is how much debt do you have in relation to how much money you have coming into the house. So let's say, for example, that you have a debt of $2,000, but your income is at $6,000. You're looking at about 30% or something like that. You ideally want your debt to income ratio percentage to be 50% or less. The less it is, the better chance you'll be able to get pre-approved, and also that will allow you to not have to go in with such a large down payment when you're coming forth to do your down payment on purchase on a home. So that's something else that you want to take into consideration. Also, another thing that you want to take into consideration of asking yourself if you're ready for a home: can you stay in one place for 30 plus years? That sounds crazy, but it is definitely the truth, and it's something that you want to keep in mind. So what do I mean by that? It's simple. Are you okay with looking at the same place for several years? Because if you take a loan out on a home and you make the purchase on the home, this is a place that you're going to be looking at for a long time. It's not going to be something that you can just quickly be like, you know what, I don't like it, I want to give it away. We're talking about a house here. It's a long-term investment. Now, I'm not saying that you got to stay at the home for 30 years, but most times people, when they get mortgages, we're looking at about 15 to 30 year fixed, payments for that. So unless you're a person that is going to be in a home for maybe about 5 years, 5 to 8 years, you're doing pretty good with it. And then you want to find a realtor that's named Ashley Rogers to help you sell that house. That's something that's good too. But that's another story for another day. So you certainly want to look into that. Find out your buying power. So let's see where we are. So you find out your motivation. You find out, get your pre-approval to find out your buying power. Know your debt to income ratio. If you don't figure that out, your mortgage company technically will figure that out as well. Now, another thing, I'm going to reiterate this from last week's video. Be mindful of what your closing costs are going to be. These are going to be costs that are going to be upfront before you actually get the keys to the home. Ideally, depending on how much your loan is that you're getting, you want to kind of be prepared for your closing costs to be about 3 to 10% of that loan amount. And again, all of these numbers and percentages really do depend on your loan, your location of the home, the cost of the home. All of those different things play into this whole process. So again, don't take every percentage and dollar amount I'm giving you as literal. You'll still have to do your research to figure out things on your end as to where you are when you're looking at where you're located, the kind of house that you're getting, all that kind of stuff. Another thing that I would say in that regard is just simply, just get the help that you can to find out how you can get all of that information together. You really want to know all of that. So let's say that your house is this house that you're looking at is about $225,000. Ideally, you might be able to, if you get a loan that covers about 80% of that, then you get that number, whatever that number is, because I can't math without a calculator, and the calculator is on my phone. That's what I'm filming on. So I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't know that number, but I'll give you the mathematical formula. So $225,000 is the price of the home. If you take 80% of that, let's say you get a loan and they cover 80% of that, that's your conventional loan, which means that you only have to worry about 20% of that as your down payment. So 20% of whatever that number is would be your down payment. And then after that amount, you still want to factor in 3 to 10% after that number in order for you to figure out what your closing costs are going to be. So another thing that I did talk about last week, in addition to the closing costs, are the upfront costs that will happen. This will be let's say that you find the house, you get pre-approved for it, you're already putting in an offer for it, your offer gets approved. Now you got to worry about the out-of-pocket costs. And these are costs that you cannot get back. Again, I said this last week and I'm going to say it again this week with this video. These are costs that you're not going to get back, regardless of whether you decide to get this house or you move on to the next. Once you sign the papers and you're under contract, these are costs that you're going to need. Inspections. You want to get a house inspection. Is it legal or is it Are you legally obligated to get an inspection? No. You can take a house as is, but if things start falling apart and those are things that you want to mention to the seller, once you close, you can't, that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. And you do have a certain time frame that you can actually renegotiate those things as well. So inspection costs, you want to take care of that. That's going to be upfront. That can run you between $300 to $700, maybe even more, depending on how thorough the inspection is. The more thorough, obviously, the more expensive, but I recommend it because it is the best thing to do, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, so you want to know what to expect. The next thing that you want to factor into this whole thing as well, the appraisal cost. The appraisal is typically done through your lender that you're going through. That's another upfront cost that will be taken into consideration. You have to take that into consideration at the closing table. You're going to come out of that money before you even actually get to the closing table. So there's that. Another thing that you might want to consider upfront costs. Let's see, there's the appraisal, there is the inspection. Those are the two biggest things that I can think of prior to actual closing costs. So the percentage of that money that I told you guys to take out, that 3 to 10% of your loan amount, those are your estimated closing costs. In addition to that, also add in your inspection and your appraisal costs. So that's something that can cost you a couple $1,000s as well too. And depending on some other things that you might want to take into consideration, that can cost you more money too. Now, the one thing I will say that is a plus to having those closing costs, actually, I'm not going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on that later because that's a little bit out there. That's more so for people that are actually in the process of getting the home. This is me telling you if you're ready to purchase a home. So those costs are things that you want to consider when you're trying to figure out if you're ready to purchase a home. Because I'll be honest with you guys, most people feel like when they get the home after they sign that paper, they're just like, oh, the keys are mine. This is good. I own everything. Yes, but if you don't have the money saved up to be able to at least get to that closing table, then you're already pretty much in a bad situation when it comes to purchasing a home. And then you're like, dang, I didn't realize how much it costs to actually get a home. It costs some money, people. I want to make that perfectly clear. It costs money to purchase a home before you even get the keys. This is why I recommend to my clients, when you are thinking about getting a home, get that pre-approval first so you know how much house you can afford, but then also make sure that you have that money saved up for a down payment and then some, because what you don't want to do is to pay out your entire savings when you purchase the home and put that down payment, and then when you get back when you actually get into the house, you're in more debt than when you started with your debt to income ratio. You don't want to do that. So again, that can all be prevented by making sure that you get that pre-approval. So that's very important. You want to make sure that you take care of that. And other than that, the best advice that I can really give you to really find out if you're ready to purchase a house is to make sure that you choose the proper realtor. And the best realtor that you can get is yours truly. Okay, I'm not gonna say that anymore. But anyway, I just really wanted to let you guys know just a couple of my little advice and tidbits on discovering if you truly are ready to purchase a home. And on that note, I want to close out by talking to you guys just a tad bit about this program that I have going on called the 90-Day Home Buyers Challenge. So just a quick spiel on that. I mentioned that maybe back in December when I was getting everything together still, but I'm going to be doing the 90-Day Home Buyers Challenge really soon, and that's where I'm going to be able to have all of you guys that are interested in purchasing a home in 90 days or more. If it takes you a little bit longer, that's okay. I'm going to walk you through each step of the way, and it's going to start with the same talk that I'm giving to you right now, finding out if you are even ready to purchase a home. And then after that, we take it a step further. Each week we're going to have different steps that we're going to be going through to find out how we can get you in your new home, because 2021 is one of those years where everyone is wanting to purchase a home, and that's okay, but you want to make sure that you're prepared to do so in the process. So that being said, I'm going to be letting you guys go. Thanks again for being part of this historic inauguration day, and thanks for joining me for Wine Wednesday, and I will see you guys on the flip side. So peace out. Peace up, 8-Town down, Lil John. Happy Inauguration Day, happy Wine Wednesday, and I will see you guys later.